Hi, welcome to Eye Openers. I'm your host, Brittany Drozd, and each week I bring you insightful conversations with entrepreneurs that will help you make more money, become a strong leader, and build a business culture that you're proud of. Grab your coffee and let's dive in. Hello, and welcome to Eye Openers. I have a special mini episode here for you to chat about your self-care. Now, self-care is not something that is just a personal conversation because if you're not paying attention to your self-care, everything in your life can go completely berserk and sideways. And that's why I wanted to bring this topic to the podcast, where here on Eye Openers, we usually focus on gaining eye-opening insights that change the way we lead in our life and our business. And that's exactly what self-care can do for you. So why are we focusing on this now? Well, July 24th is Self-Care Day, according to the World Health Organization, which apparently they know a bit about self-care and health, right? And this is an opportunity for us to raise awareness about self-care. I'm going to give you some specific self-care interventions that you can start using today. But my real goal in featuring self-care on this podcast is to bring the importance of self-care into the workplace and also help you understand how does self-care look different in the workplace versus if I'm looking at it in my personal life. Well, here's what I believe about that. You bring you everywhere you go, right? So if if you're thinking about self-care as something that's personal and doesn't enter the professional realm, that's incorrect because you bring you into your professional realm, right? And so if you're not taking care of you personally, then how can you ever take care of you professionally? And I I think that that's so important to mention because I see people compartmentalize their lives all the time. I've seen so many incredibly successful CEOs as my clients who don't take proper care of themselves as people. But I watch how strategically they compartmentalize that and put that to the side and make it not relevant, or even try to deflect my questions about their own self care. And that's on purpose. If we're living out of balance, it doesn't feel good. And so we have to do something like that to make us feel good about just moving forward or investing, over indexing on work and instead of taking care of ourselves. There is so much research that suggests investing in your self-care has a return on your bottom line. I have seen this myself when I am out of my self-care routine, which includes proper nutrition, daily exercise, some downtime from a mental health, some intentional mental health focus, either through therapy, coaching, or even just some meditation. Honestly, just mental downtime really is what does the trick for me. When I get off track there, wow, I get so overwhelmed in my business. I get flustered by the other demands on my plate in my personal life. And I am not using my highest and best skills at just managing in life. It takes me longer to complete tasks. Um, I am not the best communicator. I mean, do you need any other reasons right now to believe in self-care? Just take it from me and take it from this example. I bet if you were to pull out a piece of paper right now, a Post-it or a virtual note taker or whatever, I bet that you could describe when you were at your best. And my suspicion is that you at your best includes a version of self-care in the background. So when you've identified, hey, I was at my best, I was at my peak work performance, or things were going best for me at work, I bet that there was a self-care routine baked in there that was really working for you. So what are some things or some tactical interventions that you can do now to increase your self-care in order to see the benefits at work? I cannot recommend rest more. Unfortunately, I see this too much in my own home. I'll be totally honest with you. My husband and I both own businesses now. We love spending time with our kids, and as a family, we both have tons of personal hobbies um, and love physical fitness. And you guys, there are just only so many hours in a day. And for both of us to get what we need a ton of support, meaning through help with childcare, um, and our awesome teams. We're each lucky enough to have teams that support us. But we also have to be incredibly intentional in creating time to rest. So I have a general rule that I do not like to be on my computer after 5. Now, I'm a morning person. I'm recording this interview early in the morning right now because that's what I love. And it makes me feel great to wake up and take care of business. My husband, he is a night owl. So he's resting more in the morning and he stays up late to work. But I have that hard stop time. It helps me only make it to my gym class in the afternoon, which is fantastic. But it also helps me really put some boundaries around work so that I can rest. Because as an entrepreneur or business leader like yourself, you know that there is always something to do. And so it's up to us to set those boundaries that really ultimately serve us and our business. Creating time for deep work goes right along with this. So I don't know about you, but I can get so distracted with all the communication tools and tech that's available to us now between my phone, text messages, email, and now Slack. I'm on an embarrassing amount of Slack channels because of the different clients and businesses I serve. And I turn my Slack off honestly most of the day. People think that's wild. I can because I don't operate as an employee in those businesses, but I would advocate this for you as well, that these technology tools that allow us to be reached at any time are also distracting us. You know, I was about to talk about ADHD. That's a subject for a whole nother day, but um, it can make any person feel like they have ADD or ADHD when you have things pinging you all the time and constantly interrupting you. I can't recommend enough the concept of deep work and finding time on your calendar to turn off all of these tools and focus on one thing for a period of 60 to 90 minutes. You would not believe how much you would get done in that time if you made that commitment on your calendar. It will also feel really nourishing to your brain and your business soul to take that time to work on your business. I can't recommend that enough. Creating a routine for your mental health is really important for your self care. We don't give this enough attention. We talk constantly about physical health, nutrition, exercise, movement, getting your steps in, wearing a Fitbit. But what are you doing for your mental health? We need to be really, really intentional about what we're doing and what we're trying to create here. So for me, I like my mental health best when I don't feel overwhelmed, when I don't feel too busy, too stressed, or too pressured. So there's a lot of things I have to do in order to create that. I have to be conscious about how I'm spending my time. I have to say no where I can to not add more to my to-do list. All of these things really ease the burden on my brain, and that is when I'm healthiest, and that's when I perform at my best. What things are you doing for your physical health? Now, I just mentioned a ton of ideas there, and I think it's a bit easier and definitely more socially acceptable to focus on your physical health. But this is another realm where we can easily throw this by the wayside if we feel pressures from work. Put this in your calendar. Put your physical health regimen in your calendar to remind yourself to see it daily and to show yourself you're making this commitment to take care of you. Now, what does self care look like in the workplace? This could be you as a leader talking about self care day, talking about your mental well being, employee well being, physical health. um, and there's, as a leader, we can ask our teams, what would be meaningful to you? Would you like, a longer lunch break to be able to take a walk? Would you support an employee like nutrition program? There's a lot of benefits now that companies are able to offer and can be really meaningful to groups. But start by asking, because different things are meaningful to different people, and you want to make sure you get this right, and you want to make sure you're getting that return on the time and dollars invested. So start with talking to your team, or even putting a committee together, or having people select themselves for a committee to get these types of things in place. Thank you so much for listening. This episode is really important to me because I believe so much in how we care for ourselves. Really starts and says a lot about how we care for others. So take care of you in order to take care of business.
Thanks for joining us this week on Eye Openers. Make sure to visit BrittanyDrose.com/podcast for this week's show notes. And if you found value in today's episode, I would so appreciate you giving us a rating on Apple Podcasts or share it with a friend. Also, don't forget to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts. This all helps to support the show.